Hello, welcome to another exciting edition of the replay on ABC News Ghana with me, James Ohinba Makion. What a weekend we had across Europe and also in the Ghana Premier League. In the Ghana Premier League, Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Accra Folk recorded their respective wins in all the games that they played. Mediama Sporting Club didn't feature because the Black Galaxies are currently in South Africa. To the English Premier League, Arsenal, the Gunners didn't score, but then they picked up the maximum points. Chelsea Football Club, Cole Palmer returned with a goal, whilst Manchester City and Aston Villa are still keeping in touch with Arsenal at the top. What is happening to Liverpool Football Club? Sorry, I'm talking about Tottenham Hotspur. Thomas Frank, what's happening to them? Callum Hudson-Odoi scored a brace in there for Liverpool Football Club. Salah returned to the pitch, gave an assist, squandered some chances, but it was Hugo Ekitike who made the headlines. And then to the Spanish La Liga, Barcelona and Real Madrid also won their games. Xabi Alonso at least buying some time for himself to get more time to win more games in the upcoming games. Then we head to the German Bundesliga, where Bayern Munich drew 2-2 with Mainz 05. Hurricane scoring a late penalty to secure at least a point for the Bavarians. Napoli also lost to Udinese in the Italian Serie A. I'll be doing this with Eugene Oforisoti, where we'll do a breakdown of all the games that happened across Europe and also in Ghana. We'll go for a break. When we come back, my usual suspects will join me to discuss the issue. Stay tuned. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching the replay on ABC News Ghana with me, James Ohinba Makion. You have not missed anything. We are just about to start the show, and I have here with me Eugene Oforisoti. Good evening. Oh, this one, you say you feel cold.
Yeah, Charlie.
Oh, Yari fever. Fever now, Yari.
It's been a very cold, cold-laden week for me. I've been having cold I caught a cold from last week Monday, so it's been almost
give me the bus
of feeling cold.
Now, unya cold I say now. Uchi cold I say now.
Machiliama, how are you?
Hey, Chelsea Football Club.
Oh, I think about Chelsea.
I'm talking about Cole Palmer.
Cole announced his return. Yeah, Cole is back. Cole has decided to show up on a big game. When there was pressure, Cole decided that
Everton give pressure.
Not pressure of Everton, but pressure on the manager and pressure on the club, because we are not won since beating Barcelona about 2-3 weeks ago. See, me I've always said this thing. Chelsea can go to relegation, but two things are very important for me: an Arsenal win and a Barca win. That alone is enough for me.
But
we've gotten the Barca win.
Let's level the
Arsenal win.
When was the last time you beat Arsenal?
Are we going there? Are you going there?
Even at your home, cry, it's been difficult.
Don't worry. Don't worry. I don't need that. I want a cap on it. When there's a trophy.
The last time there was a cap on it, we beat you. FA Cup. Frank Lampard was there. We beat you to win the FA Cup.
And when I caught you in the European final, what happened?
That was like 2015.
That was the last time. 2019. The European final.
2019. What was the last time?
No.
The last time we met in the cup final.
Okay, let me rephrase. When there's a European trophy on the line.
European trophy.
Give me.
And stop playing in the English cups. Right to the FA that you don't want to play in the.
No, you know what? I will let you even have your way. I know even if you beat me, you won't get anywhere. So you continue.
But you know I'm still on top, right?
On top.
Arsenal still on top of the league log.
You know what happened this week?
What happened? Didn't we win?
Okay.
In December you want to play,
but on Friday I promise you something. That in 2 weeks time, it nearly happened this week. I know that surely agenda delayed is not denied. Next week we feast.
You see, so viewers, this is a person just trying to find a downfall of a club that are trying their best. And I'm just here to state
I'm too big. I'm too big to pull you. What will you have that I want? I'm too big to.
I have more trophies than you.
Okay. When we get to Europe, show your works.
Why?
When we get to Europe, show your works.
You are playing across all.
When we get to Europe,
across all competitions, I have more trophies than you.
And just remember, I'm currently the best team in the world.
Enumponi.
I'm the best team in the world.
Remember, the best team in the world we know is Argentina, who are world champions. Let's move on to the Ghana Premier League.
This is dishonesty.
Argentina are world champions.
Yo, and who are the club champions?
What are club champions? It's only one world.
I don't
going to play the World Cup.
I don't blame.
And for the World Cup, we know that the world champions are Argentina.
Don't worry. For the
Chelsea is now a national team.
Don't worry. For the
Chelsea is now a national team.
For the uninitiated, I think I understand you.
Chelsea is now a national team.
What it takes to get into a club World Cup, you've never had that.
Chelsea is now a national team.
What it takes to be in a club World Cup.
I won't go and play in a competition that the original trophy will not be given to me. I never compete. Guys, let's move on to the Ghana Premier League. Exciting times in the Ghana Premier. The game started on Friday, so there we have it on our screens. The result. Let me take you through the game that was played on Friday. On Friday, it was Hearts of Lions that played at home against Aduana Football Club, and at the end of the game, Aduana won by a goal to nil at the Pando Sports Stadium. Then on Saturday, Accra House of Folk at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium, they played against Nations FC and they beat them by a goal. Then we move on to the games that were played on Sunday, 14 December. Kumasi Asante Kotoko at the Babara Sports Stadium. It was a father and son affair between Karim Zito and also Wilfred Dormon. The game ended 1-0. In the 80th minute, Kwame Opoku returned to the club, returned from injury and scored a goal in that particular game. Then Bechem United beat 11 Wonders by a goal to nil. Then Nana Fusuji Abo Park. Then Swedro Blast beat Vision Football Club by 2-0. Basake Holy Stars beat FC Samatex by 2-0. Bekum Chelsea at home beat Oil United without their manager Samuel Boyd, who is currently in South Africa. Then Young Apostles beat Karela United by 2-1. So it looks like among all the games that were played over this weekend, all the home teams won their game except Heart of Lions that lost to Aduana Stars in that particular game. Soti, match week 14 of the Ghana Premier League has ended. Remember, Midyemark didn't play that game because 6 of their players are currently in South Africa for that Black Galaxies games against South Africa tomorrow.
First of all, I must say I was very much surprised with Heart of Lions losing at home at the Kwandu Stadium to Aduana. That one I would say, even though I knew Aduana were in top form, I honestly didn't think that they would be able to beat Heart of Lions. So kudos to Aduana Stars. And I listened to the Aduana Stars coach after the game, and he seemed that Aristo, he realized that it was a very difficult game and he planned towards it, and they were able to achieve what they set out. Hearts of Lions on the other hand, they could have taken on a few of their chances and capitalized, and that would have changed the story. And then as well, Hearts of Folk and Kotoko also returning to winning ways. And you remember last week, Friday on Build Up, I told you that even though Kotoko was struggling, I knew that as for Dreams SC, they would find eventually they were able to. It might not have been a Rolls-Royce performance, but at least, as you said, in December, you need the results more than the style of play. At the point when there's pressure on the manager, I think Coach Gramzito after the game at the presser, his comments indicate that he's under pressure. And I also saw some media reports which purported to be coming from the IMC chairman, I think Nana Apinkra, that's his name, also indicating that he's not particularly pleased with the performance. And if the IMC chairman says that, it means that half of your leg is out of the door and the other half is in. So what you do from now will determine whether you remain in or
Karim Zito says he has an issue with players. About 13 of his players are injured. And he said that if it was Guardiola, we played that bite on the news today. I don't know if Prince has that bite of Karim Zito, the one we played on the news. And he said that if it was to be Guardiola that said that Rodri was injured, you would have believed him. But because I'm Karim Zito and I said that 30 of my players are injured, you people said I'm lying. I'll leave you to, it's between you and your God. Okay, so that was Karim Zito speaking there. I don't, director, please let's have a listen to Karim Zito. Let's have a listen to him and then we'll come back to discuss it.
That's unfortunate. Some of you are putting pressure on me. If Guardiola tells you that Rodrigo is injured, so it's affecting, you say it's okay. But if Zito say 13 players are injured, you say it's not okay. Well, it's you and your God. I don't have a problem about that. And yesterday, my own brother, Bashiru, he lost his game. He was complaining of 3 players. nobody will say anything. But if Zito opens his mouth, third thing, you say why. You should be very, very honest with yourself. This job, we'll all leave it one day. And they will use this job to judge us. I'm not happy. The way you people are treating me, you know the problem I'm facing. But you go and see, somebody even say, I don't play 11 years. What do you know about 11 years? During your case, please. If I have the way, I wouldn't come here at all to talk. I won't. Because if I get annoyed, I don't have a break. I'll go all out. But you are all my children. You be honest with your job. Finish. If I don't look, if I leave the team today, nothing will happen to me. Nothing. Maybe the next day, look at John Smith. Assistant is sacked. Look at what he's doing. So that is how life is. So I beg you, be honest. Come to training and see what we are doing. And you know the problem Kotoko is facing. So please, you are like policemen and drivers. You understand me? We work together. So when you are spreading the information, please be
So that was Abdul Karim Zito speaking to some section of the media, saying that they've not been fair to him in terms of their reportage of injury situations, and a lot of them believe he's not doing the right thing. But he says that majority of the key players in the squad, majority of them are injured. That's why they are not getting the results.
So are we the police?
Yeah, he said your work is like the policeman. You need to be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
But if it was Guardiola, you would have believed him. But because it's Karim Zito, you don't want to believe.
I think for Uncle Karim, I think we need to do a compilation of his press conference reactions, because he has given us a few this season. And even when he was under 20 coach, he gave us a few.
Yeah.
If we add, we can get some nice teasers for the intros to our shows. But obviously, it comes with a job. And with big clubs, remember last week it was Xabi Alonso who was in the hot seat, and he was under pressure to win games. And it comes with the job. So Real Madrid, Barcelona, Kotoko, Hearts of Oak. Once you are in those jobs, once you fail to win 2 games, already you're on a yellow card. Your third one, you might be out of the club. So I think he has even enjoyed some goodwill. And if he is giving the excuse, the thing with big clubs is that sometimes you don't accept excuses. Even when it is the obvious, we all know there are injuries, still you have to find a way. And so I think with him, then if that's the case, in general he has to do some buys.
Yeah, definitely.
And then try and seal it. And usually also the problem is that a lot of the time you ask yourself, did the manager call for these players? Because these clubs, especially Kotoko, every year they do wholesale dismissals and wholesale arrivals.
Yeah.
So 10 players leave, another 10 players come in. It's unsustainable. And you ask yourself.
I think for the majority of the players, there's Prospero Gumda bought them. Yeah.
Well, it's a conversation you can have another time. But if that's his argument, then in January the club would have to back him, and then he gets new players. And then when that happens, now any poor result will be on him. All right.
Talk about Hearts of Oak. Finally, they won.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's good for them. It sort of validates their claim that when they come to the Lagos Stadium, things begin to go. Yeah. So kudos to them for getting back to winning ways. That also means that eases the pressure on Karim, coach Didi Dramani, and it's good that Hamza Issa scored a goal, right? He was the one who.
Yeah, Hamza Issa.
He was the one who was in the news a few weeks ago concerning a purported termination of contract over the club's failure to pay his 3-month salaries, and he himself had lost from a bit. We hope that with this goal he scored and the maximum 3 points he delivered, he will be able to get back his old form and then return Hearts into the top spot of the league.
All right, so let me take you through the GPL table. So Indiana Stars are on top of the league log. They currently have 27 points. Second on the league log is Medeama Sporting Club. They have 26 points. Remember, they have a game to play when the Black Galaxies return to Ghana. Asante Kotoko are currently third with 24 points. Accra Suffolk are back in the top 4. They are fourth also with 24 points. The next team is Hearts of Lions. When we go to the bottom of the Premier League, we have Dreams FC in 16th place with 14 points. Bechem United followed them with 13 points, whilst 11 Wonders are last on the league log with just 6 points. So that is our review of the Ghana Premier League. Now let's move on to the English Premier League, and it was exciting across the Great Britain land, and we had a lot of exciting highlights for you. So the one making the headlines, Hugo Ekitike, making the headlines for Liverpool Football Club. Mohamed Salah returned on the pitch with an assist and also a standing ovation from the Kop. That was how the game ended in Anfield. Before that, you saw that game between Manchester City and Crystal Palace, where City won by 3 goals. Then Chelsea also beat Everton at Anfield by 2-0. Let's start off from the Chelsea game. Happy to see Cole Palmer.
Well, first of all, yes, his first home start at the bridge since his return from a long, or I think about a month or two, a 2-month injury. So it was good to see Cole in action, and good to get him on the score sheet. But the only thing, you could still tell that his match fitness is still problematic.
Because tomorrow against Cardiff, he won't.
He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. Because one of the problems that occurred was that he was rushed from his initial injury, and that's what made this even worse. So I don't think, once beaten, twice, I don't think we'll make the same mistake twice. I think that in terms of the fluidity of the team, I think there are still a few things we need to work on. I think that overall Chelsea were lucky to have gone 2-0 winners, because if you watch the game later on, Villa had Everton had a lot of chances. We saw Jack Grealish with a chance. We saw Iliman Ndiaye with a chance
hitting the post.
And at that point, if that ball had got in, we know Chelsea can crumble under that kind of intense pressure. And there was a chance also where the ball was there was a cross into the box, but Thierno Barry was late to the party. So I can count at least 4 chances that Everton had as well. So if those chances were converted, it would have been a different story. So all in all, as you said, to borrow your words, in December, it's very much important to claim the victory, but it wasn't an impressive performance. A lot of things that we need to work on. Chelsea need to convert a lot of chances. Alejandro Garnacho, for example, look at that chance he got. It was almost like he and the goalkeeper, 1v1 situation, he fluffed his lines and he missed that chance. That would have put the result beyond the reach of Everton, and that would have calmed every Chelsea nerve. So I think that even though that win is important, we could have, and at a point where the league can be decided by goal difference, Chelsea needs to score a lot more goals in games where it is very clear that we are the superior side. For Everton, I think it was a disappointing performance. It was spirited by disappointment from them. They had good chances, they just didn't convert, and that unfortunately didn't help them. I think the way they scheduled to play the game, their system was disrupted when Kenan Dusbroho got injured very early in the game. I think within the first 15 minutes, it took off the wind out of their sail, and then it sort of put a spanner in their works. But I think it was a brilliant performance for them. It's a performance that David Moyes will look at and say it was good. Just that we're just unlucky. There are games where you play well, you just don't win. That was one of those games for Everton. From a Chelsea perspective, they didn't do too much, but they ended up winning the game.
All right, let's talk about Manchester City. On Friday, we were here and we said that Crystal Palace will prove a difficult nut to crack because of how they fared against these top big 6 teams. Were you disappointed about the result yesterday when City beat them by 3-0?
So I think Crystal Palace also fall in the same category as Everton. They played very well, just the results were not in their favor. For example, watch the first chance of the game. It was Yeremy Pino. It was also almost a 1v1 with Donnarumma, and then he hit the post. Guess what? If that goal had gone in, it would have been a different story, because then City would have had to go into the game fighting for a draw. Then I also remember Adam Watson also hit the post. Yeah. So Palace had about 3-4 chances that if they had converted, it would have been a different story. So I think if I'm supposed to be thinking like Oliver Glasner, I think it's just it was a brilliant performance from the team, just unlucky against a superior opponent. I also think that for Haaland, it's getting increasingly difficult to mark him, especially in the aerial duels, because I think Chris Richards tried everything he could do, but in every aerial duel, Haaland had a superior advantage, and then he did justice to that. So Haaland running away with the Premier League Golden Boot race at the moment.
Okay. Liverpool, Hugo Ekitike, Salah returning with an assist and coming to the AFCON on a high note.
First off, Hugo Ekitike, what a player. I like the fact that
has proved almost everyone wrong.
Funny, I I love those less fancy leagues. So when I have my free time, every week I try and watch at least one Bundesliga game, one Serie A game. Last season, I used to watch a lot of Frankfurt games. I used to see Ekitike. I wasn't really impressed by him. Well, I must say, I used to watch Frankfurt because of Ansgar Knauff and because he has Ghanaian roots. I thought, well, let me just be watching Frankfurt and just see what comes out of that. And the other players in the Elie Wahi and other players I had known from other teams. So I used to watch a lot of Frankfurt games. Once Ekitike will score. But I wasn't so keen on him. He wasn't a player. I realized he was one of their star players, but he wasn't a big guy. At the time, it was Mamouche. When Mamouche left the scene, Ekitike took the mantle, but he didn't really do a lot like it would have been expected of him. So coming into this Liverpool team, I must say my expectations for him were very low, which is normal of everybody, considering the kind of targets Liverpool were after. But I think that the fact that a lot of people didn't even know who he was, it helped him a lot. Because he was a player who had not even played a competitive game for France.
And even when he came to Liverpool, in his first 4 or 5 games, he was scoring.
Exactly.
So people were doubting.
Exactly. And I think that, and the Premier League is very difficult. A lot of players come to this league and they do not have a good time. Very few players come into the league and then they get off with a good start. On top of my head, I can look at Haaland, him, Ekitike, maybe Voltemada, and a few players. Most of them struggle. When Enzo came, Enzo didn't have it really easy. When Kai Havertz came to the Premier League, he didn't have it really easy.
Florian Wirtz is really suffering.
Wirtz is suffering. I think maybe the next player I remember who had a good start, maybe Bruno Fernandes. When he came into the league, he had a very good time. But a lot of the players, they come with. Look at what Robert Sanchez says. That you say a player is a good player, but when he comes into the Premier League, he now realizes his smoothness level. Sometimes I've seen so many players. For example, when Saul Niguez came into the Premier League, was a good player in La Liga. He came into the Premier League and he was absolutely
a lot of players.
Absolutely
Di
terrible.
Maria, Falcao,
yes, absolutely terrible. So it's good that Ekitike has really set the ground rolling with the goals, and he's built himself in terms of confidence. And at a point he made a few mistakes with his behavior, and Arne Slot did unthinkable. But I think now he has made the starting berth his role now, both as either as a winger or a number 9. So he clearly now is a starter in the team, and kudos to him. I think that pressure on Isak and co, it made that he went behind under the radar. He was able to, without pressure, get the job done. So I think it's a very brilliant start from Hugo Ekitike, and you can only wish him the best that he's able to get at least some 20 goals at the end of the season.
All right, now let's move on to some other games that were played in the English Premier League. And Arsenal, the Gunners, beat Wolves 2-0 at home at the Emirates. In other games, Nottingham Forest also went on to beat Tottenham Hotspur by 3-0. Callum Hudson-Odoi scoring that game. And in the Western Derby, Sunderland versus Newcastle United, Voltemada, who always used to score for Newcastle, yes, he did score, but this time around he did score against his own team. What a way to score for your rivals, your bitterest rivals. Voltemada, that was very unfortunate there. But when I'm talking about the key players for Newcastle United this particular season, you can't mention any other player and leave him out. But yesterday, he had to score for their rivals. And look at how they celebrated that goal. Granit Xhaka with his teammates and the rest. So it's very unfortunate for Newcastle.
So this Tyneside derby is one of the most keenly contested derbies in the league. I think apart from the North London derby and the London derby between Chelsea and Arsenal, I think then the Merseyside derby, then the Manchester derby. I think the Tyneside derby is one of the most keenly contested.
This is even contested than the United Manchester derby, just because they've not met in the Premier League for
a very long time. And I think Sunderland and Newcastle have one of the most passionate fan base in England, and I think it was very much evident in the game in the terms of the tackles and the way both sides approached the game. I think also for me, from the African perspective, it was good to see Adingra feature because of what has happened to Adingra in terms of missing out on the AFCON squad. And missing out on the AFCON squad was particularly because of the fact that he's not playing at Sunderland. And now a lot of the African players will be leaving. So it means Bertrand Traoré will be leaving. And I think in terms of the forward line, I think Bertrand Traoré is only African. So to give him an opportunity to feature on in terms of the attack, so I think it's good for him to also start getting game time and then improve such that even if he misses the AFCON, there's World Cup next year. Ivory Coast has qualified. He could stand a good chance. Apart from that, I think for the goal, Voltemada, clearly you could tell what he was trying to do. He was trying to clear the ball, but the only problem is that his stance it betrayed him, and that alone, that's when you could see that he's not a defender. And you could tell he was trying to help the team, but that was his undoing. So I think last year they played the game. I think that was in the FA Cup, and then Newcastle won the game, and Newcastle fans, the players and the fans jubilated, and they were very much excited. And I think it got to the Sunderland fans when they also got this chance. And so they decided that they will repay. Yeah, so if you watch the pictures, the way
the same
Newcastle to the picture last year, Sunderland to the picture that same way, just to get under their skin. I think Sunderland have been very much impressive. A lot of people didn't expect a lot from them, but they've been able to go beyond the logical reason of people's expectations of them. I think it's a lesson in life that sometimes people will underrate you. You have to go you know your vision and what you are. You have to go beyond, over and above, to prove people wrong. And I think for me, what next I'm yearning to see is now that about 7 of their players are going to the AFCON. What happens to the squad? Because remember, their first choice two left fullbacks in Renildo and Masuaku are both going to the AFCON. Masuaku for DR Congo, Renildo for Mozambique. In midfield, Noah Sadiki is going for DR Congo.
Mukiele.
No, Mukiele isn't. He's Congolese, but he has not represented Congo yet. And then Bertrand Traoré for Burkina Faso as well. And so I think that's where the challenge we are. I'm yearning to see how the team play without these very, very key players for them. So apart from that, I think good performance from Sunderland. Newcastle, just unfortunate that they're unable to win this game.
Arsenal failed to score, but they had the 3 points.
I think for Arsenal, I told you last week that 3 weeks ago I believed that Arsenal were title contenders and Arsenal were going to win the league. But what I saw from Chelsea and then the next few games, I realized that Arsenal will falter again. And I think they proved me wrong with the performance. But I think I like the fact that it was a spirited performance, even when at 90+1, there was an equalizer from Wolves. They still didn't. The never dying spirit was there, and they still pursued until they got their final goal. I think it's just bad luck on the Wolves team, because I think it was a brilliant performance from the team. And for Tolu Arokodare, he was in the provisional 54-man squad list for the AFCON. Now when he was dropped, he was also dropped, and I think you cannot blame him, because the kind of strikers all are in form. Akwa Adams scored over the weekend for Sevilla. Chidera Ejuke also scored over the week for Sevilla. As for Osimhen, he has bought a plot of land for the number 9 slot. Boniface also, we know he's not performing well at where he is. He's also going through some psychological issues as well. I think the only one that was surprising for me was Cyril Dresses, because Dresses is a good player, but some of those players that when it comes to the Nigerian team, he's never able to function very well. I think it's because of the way he plays, and also because of the way the wingers play. Unfortunately for the Nigerian strikers, apart from Osimhen, the wingers that play for Nigeria are those wingers who are not the traditional wingers. They also want to cut in and score. Lukman wants to cut in and score. Chukwueze wants to cut in and score. So whoever is a striker, you are bound to struggle. So unless they are hard pressed for time, and then they start flying the balls to you, and if that happens, then the strikers will struggle. So for Tolu, he missed out on the squad, but it was good that he got his goal. And I think it was a weekend where a lot of Nigerians were scoring. I told you, Akwa Adams scored, Chidera Ejuke scored. A lot of the Nigerians around also scored. So getting to the AFCON, some of them are justifying the reasons why they were benched. A lot of people are also raising a few eyebrows with why maybe they missed, because they are showing a few dynamics that they could have brought on into the team. So I think from the Wolves' perspective, was a spectacular performance. This one of the things where they impressed a lot more than certain games. Certain games Wolves lost, you can tell they deserve to lose. But this game, I think a lot of people thought it to be a dominant performance from Arsenal and to be an emphatic victory. But this is a game where Arsenal scored the first goal after the 60th minute. So after the first half, it was a goalless draw. At the Emirates, I think it was brilliant from Robert Wilson, this Wolves team. But fortunately, I think they'll end up in relegation.
All right, so Soti thinks that Wolves will end up in relegation. I think I agree with him on that. Because for you to just get 2 points out of the number of games, 15 games that have been played, that's very bad. I think apart from Sheffield United, that had a bad run of form after 15 games, the next team is Wolves. And if Wolves lose their next game, they will equal that record of Sheffield United. So you are still watching replay on ABC News Ghana. So that's our review of the English Premier League. Now let's move to Spain, where the Spanish La Liga took place across all venues. First of all, let's start from the camp of FC Barcelona, where they beat Osasuna by 2-0. And again, we also picked the highlight between Madrid and also Deportivo Alaves. Kylian Mbappe scoring in that particular game. Deportivo Alaves also scoring. And Xabi Alonso at least buying time for himself to do the right thing. So Rodrigo scoring for Real Madrid there to at least keep Xabi Alonso in the job. Yes, it was Deportivo Alaves. For Deportivo Alaves themselves, in 2 games prior to this particular game, they hadn't lost any game. They had drawn one and also won one, and losing against Real Madrid to be disappointing for them. But let's come to the studio. But before I come to Eugene for you, remember the show is an interactive one, so you can call in when we display the phone lines, and also when you open the phone lines, the numbers will be displayed on your screen very soon. So when you are done and we open the phone lines, you can call in to share your comments, whether your team is doing well in their respective league. But Soti, Barcelona still reigning.
Oh yeah. It was good to see. And I think Osasuna, I think their last 5 games, they had not even scored a single goal against them. And so I think the record continues. Unfortunately, against Kudin, for the game supporters, this week in the EPL and I think in the La Liga, we couldn't feast in terms of agenda. Yeah, I think it was supposed to add what. But home teams were not winning, away teams were, and results which didn't make sense were happening. Yeah. But I think in the La Liga, Barcelona, impressive performance from them, very dominant. Osasuna didn't look like they were coming into the game. So on that score, and as usual, Ferran Torres, when it doesn't matter, he will bang in the goals and do all that matters. And when it matters most, when he needs to score important games, then he will miss important chances, and then the club will exit. Remember, against Chelsea, he failed to score. Against Inter last season as well, he failed to score. But he's been on a very good goal scoring run in terms of the La Liga. So good for him.
Good for him. Let's talk about Real Madrid. Mbappe, Rodrigo scoring there to at least Xabi Alonso to at least rest small, put things together in place ahead of their next game. But I don't think you are surprised that they beat Alaves.
No. And I think, as you said, the win eases the pressure of Xabi Alonso. But I think it's important to note that Kylian Mbappe, when he's in the team is very fluid. Now, I could see a marked difference from the Madrid we saw on, I think, Wednesday, and the Madrid we saw yesterday. With Mbappe, the team was more fluid. And I think I also like to say kudos to Rodrigo, because missing a lot of games affected his mindset. He had gone over 30 games without a goal. All of a sudden, he scored on Wednesday. So after missing 30, after playing 30 games without a goal, he's now gone his last 2 games. He's got two goals. So that's very much impressive of him, because when he wasn't scoring, there was a lot of media scrutiny on him, and that agenda was being said that he had gone. And I think repeatedly it was being drummed into his ears and his camp around him that he had gone 30 games without a goal. So I think it was very much impressive for him to have gone 2 games now, scoring in his last 2 games. I think that's good for Real Madrid. They need to just improve, win every game. Hope Barcelona slip up, and then they could also win. But I think this eases off the pressure on him. And I think the only way Alonso would have been sacked was if they had lost yesterday's game. Because I think everyone who watched the game on Wednesday against City realized that Xabi Alonso did everything possible. He tried everything possible, and I think if not for the referee, Real Madrid could have ended the game without a defeat. So I think once they didn't sack him that on Wednesday, I didn't see him being sacked unless he failed to win. So once he managed to get the win, then I knew he was not going to be sacked. He just needs to consolidate that with about 2-3 wins, and I'm sure this whole conversation about him being sacked will go once he gets to win games. And I'm sure now that Rodrigo has started getting to the picture, now Xabi Alonso he should be open-minded. Now he's spot for choice. Because Rodrigo is in a good run of form. Mbappe is already in a good run of form. Vinicius is also he has the energy. His space and energy, his dribbling is always important for Real Madrid's counter attack. And there's Arda Güler as well, who's also in the picture, and Arda Güler is also building in confidence. Now also there's the striker Rodrigo. Gonzalo. Yes, the striker Gonzalo Garcia, the backup striker. Yeah. He's also a player who, when given a few minutes, he can prove something. Then there's also Endrick. I think
Endrick is moving to Olympic.
Lyon. That move has always been in the running for a while. But I think that the thing is that Xabi Alonso should be open-minded. He shouldn't rely only on Mbappe. He should open up and let the other players start scoring so that the team becomes more fluid. So when Mbappe goes
the issue is once he opens up, for Mbappe, when you play Rodrigo, Mbappe, Vinicius, they will bag in the goals. But once you rotate, open them, the results are not coming. For Xabi Alonso at this point, that there's a lot of pressure on him, I think you like to go with the players he believes will get him going rather than to rotate and.
But guess what? Rodrigo had not played for a long time. Guess who saved him on
No, I think Monday? Rodrigo not playing a long time. First of all, started from Carlo Ancelotti.
Yeah.
Right.
That has always been his problem. No matter how good he is, he just never makes into the.
So I think that these.
I think he needs to. So for example, if you cannot alter the team, then what you can be doing is to be taking players off early. So I'm sure. See, no matter how Vinicius is angry, if you take him off and bring Rodrigo, he wouldn't be too angry because, of course, Rodrigo is his countryman, right? I'm sure sometimes who you are training for is where his problem lies. I think that's one of his problems. And certain games, sometimes you can say the players are fine for his built his confidence. Don't yank him off at that time. Yeah. Sometimes he should take off Mbappe. When, for example, in a cool game you are winning 3-0, take him off, and then for me it's important because I realized that Gonzalo Garcia, look at the form he brought from the Club World Cup. He's almost lost that. Look at Endrick. Even with all the lack of game time, we saw what his output against City. So I think for Xabi Alonso, he needs to do more in terms of giving player minutes and boosting the confidence of the team.
So other games also came on in the Spanish La Liga. Atletico Madrid beating Valencia by 2-1. Koke and Griezmann scoring that particular game. Mallorca beat Elche by 3-1. Getafe beat Espanyol by a goal. Sevilla went on to beat Real Oviedo by 4-0. Celta Vigo beat Athletic Club de Bilbao. Today, Rayo Vallecano will play against Real Betis. Also in the English Premier League, Manchester United will play against AFC Bournemouth. Now let's move on to the Italian Serie A, where Udinese beat Napoli by a goal. After looking at that highlight, we can also move on to the German Bundesliga, where Bayern Munich drew 2-2 with Mainz 05. Harry Kane scoring a late penalty there. So Harry Kane securing a point for Bayern Munich against Mainz 05. Before that, you saw Udinese scoring a lot of goals, but it was only one that was accepted by the referee. They beat Napoli, interestingly, by a goal to nil. So Napoli gradually losing games that you thought that they could win.
Not only that, but I think this week a lot of results went, especially in the Serie A. AC Milan failed to win. Yeah. They took a 2-0 lead. They blew that lead. And we are seeing Napoli here struggling to beat Udinese. In fact, if not for the referee, it could have been 3-0. Yeah. And Lazio beating Parma away from home. A lot of results were interesting. For example, yesterday evening, Inter Milan took a 2-0 lead. And at the point, Genoa looking like they could have also equalized. So this week in the Serie A, there were a lot of upsets. And I think I think it's a problem with the Serie A. Usually, I realize this thing. When the team that doesn't play in Europe, they do very well. When the team doesn't play Europe and then they win the league and they qualify to Europe again, the next season they struggle. It's been a thing with Inter Milan. It's been a thing with AC Milan, and we are currently seeing Napoli struggling. Last season, Napoli were not struggling particularly because we're only playing once a week. Yeah. Now we are seeing them playing in the European competition, also playing the Coppa Italia, and so I think that is where it's affecting them. So I believe that Antonio Conte will need to check a few of his taxes, and I think that they have been on a good run of form with Rasmus Højlund and David Neres being on the goal scoring streak for the last 5 games. I think maybe this might be just a blip in terms of their run of form. Let's see. If next week they fail to win, then we realize that it's the beginning of a downward spiral. But if they win next week, then you can tell that this was just a blip in their record.
All right, so let's talk about Bayern Munich.
Yeah. Mainz really impressed. Mainz really impressed me. They did very well. They matched Bayern boot for boot. Bayern are almost running away with the
Bundesliga.
Yeah, and I think if I'm not wrong, this is their second game they've drawn as well. So I think anything that manages to stop Bayern, I think they've done a good. And in fact, I must say Bayern were losing the game until the penalty.
Yeah.
So Mainz, to put in a better perspective, Mainz were winning the game until this penalty, which is some way. So I think it was very impressive from Bayern, from Mainz, the way they set out to play the game, and clearly you could tell from the onset that they were in a hurry to score the first goal, and then from there they would defend. They scored the goal, equalized, and they still managed to find the back of the net again. And if not for that, the penalty which Kane equalized, it would have been a different story. So I think brilliant performance from Mainz 05.
Brilliant performances from Mainz 05. Let me take you through some of the results that were recorded in the Italian Serie A and also in the German Bundesliga. So on Friday, Lecce beat Pisa by 1-0. Torino beat Cremonese by 1-0. Then Parma also sat out, so where they lost to Lazio. Lazio had 2 red cards in that particular game, but they found a way to win that game. AC Milan drew 2-2 with Sassuolo. Atalanta beat Cagliari by 2-1. Fiorentina at home lost 2-1 to Verona. Udinese, as we've already mentioned, beat Napoli by 1-0. Then Genoa at home lost 2-1 to Inter Milan. Then Bologna had a red card and they lost 1-0 to Juventus. Today, AS Roma will play against Como. That's how we wrap up the replay this afternoon on ABC News Ghana with me, James Ohinba Makion. I did this with Eugene Ofori.